There is a man playing in this World Cup who is also the tournament's biggest problem. Not a liability, not a burden in the conventional sense, but a weight so enormous, an expectation so impossible to contain, that the entire competition bends around a single question that football has never actually had to answer before. Can the greatest player who ever lived do it again? Not at 25, not at 29, at 38 years old, turning 39 in the middle of the group stage, with a left hamstring that forced him off a training pitch 2 weeks before kickoff, in a tournament that will, without any ambiguity, be the final World Cup of his career. No nation has retained the World Cup since Brazil in 1962, not once in 64 years. The last four defending champions, France in 2002, Italy in 2010, Spain in 2014, Germany in 2018, did not just lose, they failed to get out of their groups. 4 consecutive world champions, 4 consecutive humiliations. And yet Argentina, led by this man, are ranked number 1 by FIFA and stepping onto that same road tomorrow. This is not theater. This is not manufactured drama. This is a man at the absolute edge of what is physically and historically possible, attempting something that has no precedent in the history of this sport. And the problem is not that he might fail. The problem is that the gap between what failure looks like and what success looks like has never been this wide for a single player at a single tournament. Ever. This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and this is the Lionel Messi problem. Welcome to Ryan Kelsey Football Channel. Let's get started. To understand what is being asked of him now, you first have to understand what Messi actually produced in Qatar 4 years ago, because the phrase, "won the World Cup," does not come close to covering it. At 35 years old, Messi played every single minute of Argentina's 7-game campaign, all 690 of them. He scored 7 goals and created 3 assists. He won 5 Player of the Match awards in a single tournament, a record that has never been equaled. He scored in the group stage, the round of 16, the quarterfinal, the semifinal, and the final. He is the only player in the history of the Men's World Cup to have scored in every round of the same tournament. His 21 total goal contributions across his World Cup career, 13 goals and 8 assists, equal those of Pelé. His 26 appearances are more than any player in the history of the competition. He matched Diego Maradona's entire goal contribution record from Mexico 1986 in a single tournament, in Qatar, at 35. Maradona was 25 years old at that tournament. Messi was 10 years older. The same output a decade later against a deeper, faster, more tactically sophisticated field. When the final whistle blew in Lusail Stadium, the world thought it had just watched the greatest individual World Cup performance in history. It had. But almost nobody understood they were also watching the opening chapter of a story that hadn't ended. Lionel Messi was born on June 24, 1987. He turns 39 on that date in 2026, and that date falls in the middle of Argentina's group stage, between their second match against Austria on June 22nd and their third against Jordan on June 27th. This is not a footnote. It is the central fact of everything that follows. At 35, he was the oldest outfield player to deliver a performance of that scale at a World Cup. The sport had no reference point for it then. It has even less of one now, 4 years later, with a hamstring that developed muscle fatigue during an Inter-Miami MLS match in late May, forcing him to skip Argentina's June 6th friendly against Honduras and work through an individual training program in Kansas as the squad prepared around him. Scaloni has been cautious in his public statements, not alarmed, but careful, measured, repeating the words day by day. Messi is expected to start against Algeria on June 16th. Expected, not confirmed. And yet the form that led him to this point demands respect. In the 2025 MLS season, at 37 and 38 years old, Messi scored 29 goals in 28 games for Inter-Miami and topped the assist chart with 20. The club won the MLS Cup for the first time in its history. Messi won the league's MVP award. He was also the top scorer in CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying with 8 goals, the first time in his career he had ever finished as the leading scorer in a South American qualifying campaign. The body has questions to answer. The numbers suggest it has been answering them well. Both things are true simultaneously. That is the Messi problem. France won in 1998, group stage exit in 2002. Italy won in 2006, group stage exit in 2010. Spain won in 2010. Group stage exit in 2014. Germany won in 2014. Group stage exit in 2018. 4 defending champions. 4 consecutive group stage exits. The only precedent for successfully retaining the World Cup is Brazil in 1962 and Italy in 1934 and 1938. events so distant from modern football that they offer no tactical or psychological roadmap. Nobody alive in Argentina's current squad was born when Brazil last retained the trophy. Argentina are in Group J. Their opponents are Algeria, Austria, and Jordan, a group that, on paper, offers a clear pathway to the knockout rounds. Jordan are making their World Cup debut. Argentina open against Algeria in Kansas City on June 16th. But Argentina also began the 2022 World Cup with what appeared to be an accessible group and lost their opening match to Saudi Arabia. The defending champion's curse does not discriminate by opponent quality. It operates through the pressure of repetition, through the impossibility of replicating what produced the first title, through the physical and psychological weight of being the team everyone has studied for 4 years. Every side Argentina face will have watched Qatar 2022. Every defensive structure they encounter will have been built around neutralizing the specific movements and patterns that won that tournament. And at the center of all of it, carrying the identity of this entire campaign, is a man managing a hamstring at 38 years old. Not even the greatest player in history gets to ignore the defending champion's curse. What he can do is face it. That begins on Monday. In Qatar 2022, Angel Di Maria scored in the final. He has retired from international football. He is not in this squad. What Argentina do have is 17 survivors from the 2022 winning roster. Emiliano Martinez, who made the saves in the penalty shootout that changed history in Lusail, is back. Julian Alvarez, who scored 4 goals in 2022, including 2 in the semi-final against Croatia, is back. Alexis McAllister, Enzo Fernandez, Lautaro Martinez. The spine of the team has continuity that no other squad at this tournament can match. Lautaro Martinez scored the winning goal in the 2024 Copa America final against Colombia. He provides the goal threat that Argentina need when Messi is being managed rather than unleashed. He has 32 international goals. He is not a secondary option. He is a proven match winner in his own right. But the tactical reality of this squad is that Argentina's system is built around creating space and opportunity for one specific player. The 4-3-3 that Scaloni deploys places Messi in a free role on the right that generates attacking patterns through his movement and decision-making. When Messi is at full capacity, every opponent at this tournament knows that and cannot stop it anyway. When Messi is managing his minutes, protecting a hamstring, asking more of Lautaro and Alvarez in the spaces he would normally occupy himself, this team is meaningfully different. How Argentina plays when Messi is conserving himself rather than dominating is the most important unanswered tactical question at this World Cup. Scaloni has not been asked to answer it yet because Messi has not needed to be conserved. He may need to be here. In 7 matches, across 39 days, in the heat of a North American summer, the 2026 World Cup final takes place on July 19th at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Capacity: 82,500. By that point in the tournament, if Argentina are in it, the entire sporting world will have oriented itself around what is happening on that field. Spain arrive as the pre-tournament favorites. They are the reigning European champions. Lamine Yamal, who turned 17 during Euro 2024 and is now 19, is the most scrutinized young player in the world. If Argentina win Group J and Spain win Group H, those two sides could meet as early as the round of 32. The draw has created that possibility deliberately, and the television numbers it would generate are not a coincidence. Cristiano Ronaldo, at 41, is also here for his 6th World Cup, the same record Messi is setting. If Portugal and Argentina both advance from their groups, they could face each other in a quarterfinal at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. It would be their final World Cup meeting. Football would not recover quickly from it. But the number that matters most is this: no player has ever won consecutive World Cup Golden Ball awards. Messi won in 2014, with Argentina as runners-up. He won in 2022, with Argentina as champions. A third Golden Ball, alongside a second winner's medal, would constitute the most individually decorated World Cup career in the history of the competition, by a distance that has no comparison. That is what is possible. Not probable, possible. And in sport, when a story reaches this level of stakes and this level of scale, possible is everything. After 2022, most people assumed the story was finished, that Messi had climbed the final mountain, that Qatar was the ending, that what came next was simply the long, comfortable farewell of a man who had achieved everything there was to achieve. But here he is. In Kansas City on Monday, wearing the number 10, managing a left hamstring, turning 39 in the middle of a group stage, 8 days into his 6th World Cup, on the road to a final that would require him to do what no defending champion has done since 1962, and no individual player has done at any point in the history of the competition. The 2026 World Cup has a Lionel Messi problem. Not because he makes Argentina weaker, not because his presence is a distraction, but because what he is attempting is so large, so historically loaded, so far beyond the conventional boundaries of what football expects from a man at this stage of his life, that the tournament cannot fully contain it. If he lifts the trophy on July 19th, sport will not have adequate language for what it has witnessed. If he doesn't, the final chapter of the greatest career in the game's history will have been written on a pitch in North America, with everything on the line and everything at stake. Either way, this is not a football tournament. This is the last act of the longest story football has ever told, and it starts tomorrow. Subscribe to Ryan Kelsey Football Channel, and we'll see you next week.